Hello, folks, and happy 2025. Today is Tuesday, January 7th. As usual, my name is Teodor Vladov, and I'm back with the first episode of Keeping It Realistic for the new year and episode 43 in total. During today's show, which by the way is in collaboration with Chaos, we'll take a look at the latest news, tutorials, and learning sources, both from Chaos and our group. We will review a work in progress project, one by Kama, check out some of your works from the last 2 weeks as a source of an inspiration, and also take a closer look at a recent exercise, respectively study of mine. Plus there will be a surprise towards the end of the show, so definitely stay tuned. And remember, we do this as a live show so that you can actively participate in the discussions and so that we can interact with each other. So don't hesitate to say hi, ask questions, share your thoughts and opinions, and generally be active. And with this out of the way, welcome everyone. I hope you've had a good start of the year. I'm wishing you a wonderful, healthy, inspiring, and very successful 2025. Thank you very much for all the kind messages that you sent me on Messenger or Instagram. Made me really happy, and I absolutely value the appreciation that you've shown towards me. I see Mikkel is here. He has written something that I failed to be able to read, unfortunately. But hey, Mikkel, Danushka is here. Marcelo, nice hairstyle, Theo. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it a hairstyle. It's just my hair growing. I want to make dreadlocks once again, and for this I need long hair. So I absolutely have no hairstyle, but it's great that you like the way my hair looks. Let's put it like this. Amit is here, of course. I was expecting you, mate. He says hi, Danushka. Hi, all. He says, but where is Theo? Oh, well, here I am. Don't you see me? Don't you see my screen? Actually, you should. I don't know. Marcel was able to see me. Oh, you have a video lag, such a large video lag. I'm sorry about this. Are you guys all having these types of issues? I changed my setup during the holidays. I now have monitors with bigger resolution, and I had to change also to recable, of course, and also change some of my settings in OBS. And actually, my tests shown that everything is working pretty fine. But yeah, if you don't see me, if you have such a big lag, then I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope this is not the case for everyone. Anyway, Mikhail said, Happy New Year, everyone. Oh, this is in your language. Happy New Year, everyone. Oh, okay, cool. Anna is here. Hello, Anna. Great to have you back. So, folks, tell me, how did your year start? Did you celebrate? Is there something that you celebrate? Obviously, I mean, Christmas is a Christian holiday. New Year's also isn't for everybody, as far as I know. For Muslims, the New Year starts somewhere in March, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, did you celebrate, or did you just have some normal work weeks and had a lot of work? I saw some of you actually posting stuff, so it seems you were busy and not really having a holiday. I still hope you enjoyed the beginning of the new year anyway. Amit says, I refreshed the page and it's okay now. Danushka, all good for me. Okay, that's great. Okay, now just let me, before we take a look at our cover image for the day, just let me tell you that I plan not to do the show not to be too long, and not only this episode, but all the upcoming shows. For last year, I had planned to have the shows be or 1.5 hours at most, but in the end of if we take a look at the shows, most of them were 2 hours or some even longer, which is, maybe a bit overwhelming. And this is something which I generally don't want to do this way, because it's exhausting, not only for me, but also to you as an audience. So this year, I'll do my best to keep the shows at 1.5 hours. If there is nothing that special that really wants us or needs us to have a longer show, then we can, of course, do it, but not every time. Of course, Yeah, we talk a lot, which I enjoy a lot as well. It's great. It makes the show lively. It makes it dynamic. And of course, when we talk a lot, we make the show longer. But that's very much okay with me. Let me check the comments, and then we can take a look at our cover image. Amit says, "Finally, I went with my family for a beach vacation, and now there is one tick mark in the list. Many more to go through." Oh, you have a bucket list. Well. This sounds really good. Maybe you can share some photos. Marcelo says, "My dad passed away a month ago, so there is not much to celebrate, but we are trying to start the year well with good attitude." I'm very sorry. I read about this. Really sorry for you, man. Having your dad not be there anymore for you must be so crushing, and I really hope that, I mean, the sadness phase you have to go through, and no one can really take this away from you, but I really hope that you just remember the good memories you had with him, and just be able to enjoy life after a while. The way you put it, having positive attitude for the new year. So yeah, all the strength to you. Amit says, "My condolences to you, Marcelo. May God give strength and peace to you and your family." Very kind of you, Amit. Abdi's here. Hi, folks, and a happy new year to all of you. Wishing you that all of your good wishes will come true. Great one. And I will just move on now so that we can actually try to at least make it at 1.5 hours, if possible at all. So back to our cover image for the day. We always take a moment in the beginning of the show to appreciate it. And the works this time were contributed by Douglas, Rita, and even your boy here. Believe it or not, after almost 1.5 years, I actually made it on the cover of my own show. But of course, all jokes aside, congrats to Douglas and Rita. Really nice images, lots of wood, warm, cozy, and pretty realistic. I think they go together nicely and harmoniously. I hope you like this cover image as much as I do. Okay. Now let's go to the main. Let's share my main screen. And as you know, usually we have a second image to enjoy in the beginning, which is our Facebook cover that now is featuring your works since September, if I'm not mistaken. Usually I change the new image before the show starts, but given that we didn't have a show 2 weeks ago, and we didn't have the chance to appreciate Kassoon's work here as a cover image, I thought that it would be a good idea to, take a closer look at this together and appreciate it. As I already told you, it's a great cover image, especially given that the winter time, especially here in Germany, where I'm situated, where Chaos is situated, the headquarters. Wintertime in the city looks more like this rather than what we know from Hollywood movies with lots of snow and stuff like this. So yeah, this one is very authentic to me, but also it's a beautiful, dynamic, lively image that I totally enjoy. So let's appreciate it together, and then together we can also upload the new one, which is the image that won out. It is The Cozy Bedroom by Danushka. It won out among many really good contenders. Definitely deserved though. It's a highly realistic image with a wonderful atmosphere to it. I think it looks great as a cover image of the group. It's a big contrast to the previous one, but nevertheless, it makes for an absolutely great atmosphere and mood in this group. And I think we can agree that having your images grace the group title is definitely a great idea, because it makes the group more lively and the community also more involved, because once you upload an image, it could actually turn out to be the new cover image gracing the official Chaos community online, which is pretty cool and an honor if you ask me. The new contenders that you can vote for, I will show you in the end of the show. And by the way, the artists from Sri Lanka have been dominating this cover competition the last 3 times. It was Janita, Kassoon, now Danushka. So let's see if someone can stop their winning streak, because they don't have to, because the images are amazing. But yeah, just A small fact on the side. Amit says, nice to see you on the cover page there, and congrats to all the artists who made it to the cover of the show. Ahmed is here. Hello, my friend. Mikhail says, congrats, Danushka, really great work. It is, indeed. It's an amazing image, and it's great that we have it as a cover of our group. Now, we just spoke about community, and it's time to, I mean, you saw this, but yeah, we reached the 6,000 member milestone in the end of 2024. The group is definitely quickly growing. I actually went back and checked 1 year ago on January 16th, and we had our 80th show. We were 3,637 people. Now we are almost 6,100, right? If we check it here, meaning that we have a growth of 2,500 people within 1 year. This is an amazing growth of 70%. This is really, really amazing. So yeah, continue spreading the word so that our community keeps growing. Danushka says, yo, thank you so much, Theo, and thank you so much, you guys, for voting. Totally deserved, man. Totally deserved. Mike says, somehow I can't access the video, the live video. Let me see what I can do. I cannot do really much for you, dear Mike. Sorry for that. I don't know how to allow Mike into the live. It seems like all of you made it without any issues. Oh, I should also switch my mouse. Sorry, I forgot this. I have a mouse which doesn't do those click sounds, which I think is more pleasant for you to listen to. Okay, so other than that, we don't really have many news. Obviously, as I told you, the Chaos headquarters are mostly situated in countries where Christmas and New York holidays are celebrated, and New Year, holidays are celebrated, so Bulgaria, Germany, USA. So I think it's just holiday season for them, but I assume that the events will soon be added, and on our next episode, we'll be able to talk about them. Oh, Mike made it. Great to see you here, Mike. Happy New Year. Amit says, your charm, Theo, and our group friends' magic feedback work for the growth of the group. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it's it's definitely a very, very lively community. It's a community. I've heard multiple people who just joined say that they're amazed by how active the group is, how helpful this community is, how much feedback is provided, and how much they can improve because of this. So I think it only makes sense that it grows. So yeah, continue spreading the word, and let us make this group really huge. Because, doesn't matter how large a group is, not everyone, even if it's like a group with million users, not everyone will be active or writing or helping others. But the truth is that there is a certain proportion. So the larger the group, the larger the core of people who actually care and want to help others. So yeah, the more the group grows, the better for all of us, I would say. Okay, next topic. I think it's from last year, but I think we haven't talked about it in the show, is that the V-Ray for Blender Beta is out for testing. There is a link which I'll drop to you right now if you want to, if you are a Blender artist, somebody who prefers to do your work in Blender, but you still want to render with V-Ray, for example. Now you don't have to go over Max in order to do so. There is a special version of V-Ray for Blender. Now, it's going to be a limited one. This is so much is sure. So it's similar to or partially limited one. Don't want to make it sound bad, but similar to the SketchUp or Rhino versions, it wouldn't have the whole functionality like a version, like the Max version, for example. Okay, I would say enough about news. Let's check out the campus learning, because here we have actually a lot to talk about. By the way, folks, seeing Mike here in the comments, I saw that Viz Academy is actually looking for new tutors or somebody to join their team and complete them. There are some essential qualifications like fluent English, So I cannot do it already at this point. I'm out. Proficiency in 3ds Max, experience with Corona Renderer, and also video editing software expertise. So there is a post in the group. If you think you can fulfill those, gladly check it out and reach out to Viz Academy. There is an email address down here where you can send your portfolio to. Mike says the default Blender monkey's code to the left. Yeah. So that's pretty neat detail. Okay. Now, on the topic of learning, we just talked about Viz Academy. Let's talk about also the Chaos Academy. The Chaos Academy is a thing that for the longest time I didn't know about, but it's actually very great. I already shared a link about this in the group. There you can find courses on V-Ray, on Escape, on Vantage for different proficiency levels from novice, intermediate, advanced to expert, and for different host softwares over 3ds Max, SketchUp, Cinema, Maya, and Rhino. And the best thing about it, it's free. It's completely free. Every course you see here, you can enlist in, and it's going to be free for your free knowledge. So definitely check out what you can learn there. Next thing is on the topic of learning. Muhannad seems like he's planning to do some shorts or reels with tips and tricks for architectural visualization, which is of course great. And he wants to hear some ideas from you. So he made a post and he says, what are the kinds of 3ds Max or Chaos Corona tips you'd like to see? Would you prefer more in-depth or speedy shortcut type of tips? I would say it depends on the topic. If you want to show how to create a scene from scratch, then I would say make a long one, explain everything in detail. If you want to show a quick tip, then do it just in a few minutes. So it depends. I like both. Are you into enhancing your architectural visualization skills right now? Definitely. I don't think that there is an ArchViz artist who would say no to this. So yeah, if you have any ideas, maybe go to Muhannad's post and answer his question here. Next, we have 3 tutorials by Bilal. You know, we always have Bilal tutorials in recent times, but that's great because they are really good. First one is how to create a bath without windows. This is a tricky situation in which lots of ArchViz artists have been in. It's not a pleasant one because natural light is always a great thing to have, but this is not something that really happens every time we want it. So yeah, here Bilal is showing exactly this case. It's a long one without any talk or sounds. It's a mute one, but it's like 1.5 hours long, but he shows the whole process. So the modeling, the furnishing, the texturing, the lighting, and it's definitely worth your time. Next, there is a very short one, like 4 minutes. Muhannad, if you're watching this, you see an example of a long and a short one. Here, Bilal is showing us how we can do sliders for opening and closing doors or windows, whatever, in Max. It's really short, but also very useful. And the final one is this one, which is very fresh from today, where Bilal is showing us how to create this breaking, this furniture that disassembles and then reassembles as a new one with the help of TileFlow and 3ds Max. It's moderated in English and once again, not so long, just 9 minutes. It's very cool. It's a funky effect as you saw it here. It's pretty nice. So yeah, not really difficult to achieve, but definitely exciting and pleasantly dynamic. So check it out as well. Now, talking about TileFlow, we definitely need to mention the master. Abdi, I gotta remind you about this. For 10 months, he's been doing this TileFlow for ArchViz series for us. Abdi doesn't come from architectural visualization, but yeah, he started this exactly because of our group being the way it is, of this community being so helpful and nice. So he started doing this, and there is a list of those. He shared the list in the group. So if you want some awesome tips about architectural visualization from somebody who's really good at TileFlow, check this out. Now, talking about Abdi tutorials, he also made a very short one. It's barely 2.5 minutes, showing how to do animated water surface in 3D Studio Max with the help of the Phoenix Ocean Texture Map. For this, you don't need to have a Phoenix license. You can just install the trial and the materials will come with it. And once you get the material, you can use it as long as you want. But what it does, it makes for a very believable looking animated water, especially for, seas and lakes and stuff like this. I think he shows it at some point. So if you want to do something like this, definitely follow this tutorial here. Also, one last thing about Abdi, he shared a free Lego brick model pack for us to use. So in case you could use something like this, definitely go and download it because you can definitely profit from this. Let me check the comments. Oh, Kama joined us. Great to have you. We'll be talking about your work in progress in a minute. Dear Kama, Happy New Year to you too. Amit says, I started with a Vantage course after getting my RTX 4070 Ti. Super. Finally, during Christmas, thank you, Theo, for sharing it, as even I was not aware of it. Yeah, it was kind of hidden. I'm not sure how long has this been up for, but it's great that we have it. It's really awesome. Ukbam says, this is so beautiful community, so glad to be here. Well done, Teodor Vladov. Well, it's not only me. I'm just a part of it. I'm doing my part and hoping that it works, but it's of course all of you, people like Amit, for example, who's been so active, providing so much feedback for the others that make this awesome community. And of course, Chaos, making sure that we get all those shows like the Viz Academy show or the Nikus Creative Lighting show and also the CG Architect podcast, and all of this just contributes to an awesome community. Marcelo says, hello Theo, could you share the link when you can of the Chaos Academy or something like that? You said that I'm not finding this. I will immediately share this to you because this is something that needs to be shared. Oh, okay, Amit was quicker. Sorry. Flatson is here. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Abdi says, thank you very much for your valuable support. Much appreciated. Thank you, dear Abdi. You've been supporting us so much in this group with your tutorials and stuff. So yeah, thank you. Thanks back to you. Okay, I think we're through with our learning part. So it's time for us to talk a bit about the Work in Progress initiative. For those of you who are new, because we have lots of new members, once you see me, this usually happens on Fridays, once you see me post a clay render with this red logo with Work in Progress time written on it, it means that you are more than invited to share the current state of your work, the way it is, and get some constructive criticism for it. Just make sure to describe your goals, so whatever you want to achieve, and also ask specific questions so that you also get more specific feedback. So yeah, it doesn't matter in which phase you are, if you're in a modeling phase, clay phase, or trying to figure out the right lighting, just put it out there, describe what you're after, and we'll try to give you some hopefully constructive feedback. Now, what we will be talking about today is a work that started with this initiative and is now finished, and it's also great. Kamal shared the final version of his museum scene, yeah, I think in order to be able to evaluate it, it would be great if we take a look at the previous phases. So it all started like this. Kama, his clay model and his ideas roughly depicted here or described here. Next, the next phase, already textured with more detail. Third phase, already pretty good, but still had some issues here in the foreground. Fourth phase, this is the last one we discussed during the show, and I think it's already pretty good. And now we have the current phase, and I think we can agree that this is an example of constant improvement. As Mario puts it up here, the evolution from the first image you posted is insane. Congratulations from me too. Totally agree with this. You managed to create a really lively, nice looking urban scene with so much going on it. Lots of architectural and urban details, people, vehicles, greenery, really nice urban scene. The good thing about it is, despite all of those details, you still manage to maintain a clear focus in your work. The main actor, which in this case is the museum, is clearly visible because of your great lighting, the great framing. All the insignificant aspects of this image are in dark areas where we don't see them that good. And the building is nicely illuminated and also has a great contrast to the sky behind. And generally speaking, this is just a very, very pleasant image to look at. It's crisp, it's realistic, has good materials, many details, believable imperfections, being it the scattered leaves or the puddles on the floor. And generally, it has this very, very nice post-rain mood. So you did a wonderful job. We all agree on this. Still, though, after all the time and work that you have put into this, I think that your image deserves to be perfect. And for it to be that, there are some minor improvements needed. First of all, it's the museum logo. I very much agree with Amit here. The museum logo looks like it's 2D, like you did it in post-production, which isn't a good thing. So what I would advise you here is to either extrude it more, shell it, whatever you want to do it, or if you want to keep it flat, or if you want to keep this elegant lettering, then take it further away from the facade so that it throws some shadow on it. Like, for example, you had it here. I think in this case, it's better. It's visible that it's actually 3D letters and not just something you did in a post-production. Next thing is, we gotta take a look at this, the interior behind the glazing. And unfortunately, dear Kama, this is a no-go. You cannot leave it like this. It's not convincing. It takes away a lot of realism. I mean, you did it here in the entrance area and it works there flawlessly. It's great. You see that there is something behind the facade, but we're not very interested in it. Here, however, it's a different case. This is like this is the major, most important and prominent glazing. So what we need to see what's behind, and it should be more than just a 2D mapped image. So in this particular case, I would advise you to actually invest the time and do what's behind in 3D. Next, it's the 2D people. Some of them seem a bit underscaled and out of proportion. And here I want to show you a trick. So when you have a scene like this, place a 3D person somewhere in the distance, like this waiter here. And then place a helpline above their head. And from now on, place every other 2D person, make them have their head touch this line. Like you see it here in the beginning, it works. Of course, the guy is bigger than the woman. This makes sense. We have kids or students or something. They are not as large. This woman here is fine. But for example, the one crossing the street or this grandpa here, they are too small. So you gotta fix this, and this line will help you. And the second thing is, once again, you fix the people. You had your 3D people that were kind of distorted, and you exchange them or you swap them for 2D people, and the distortion is gone. However, some of the rendered elements still have it. So what you need to do, once again, it's an unorthodox method, but what I would recommend is just squeeze the image together until elements like this are actually round, as they should be. And if you take a look at this, I already saved this one. If you take a look at this, it looks like this when the image is squeezed together, and I don't see any issue with that at all. And that would be it, actually. Apart from these small 4 issues that I just mentioned, it's a fantastic work. You created a very complex urban scene, and you did it with ease. You pulled it off like a total pro. And also, I gotta say, it was a total pleasure to accompany this process from the concept idea to the completion and be a part of your growth. I really hope that the feedback you got from me, from the show here, but also from the others like Amit, has been useful to you and has helped you reach your goal, because the final outcome is really, really convincing and great. So you guys, you can also let me know in the comments what you think about this. And in the meantime, we can move over to some inspirational works of yours. Okay, so maybe we can just, because I want to also show you a few animations, and the more Facebook windows I open, the slower they get. There is some type of a bottleneck somewhere, which I cannot figure out exactly why. We'll just scroll down here a bit instead. Yeah, take a look at this. I mean, come on. Have you seen How I Met Your Mother? If so, you've probably seen Robin trying to take bad photos from Barney, and like he was sneezing or eating something, and she would take a photo, and then she would take a look at the photo, and he was like looking fresh as hell, just amazing. Like I'm the opposite of this. No matter where I stop my video, I always look like Keith Richards or Mick Jagger or something. It's just infuriating. Anyway, let's continue and take a look at, because I wanted to show you also some animations, and instead of opening 100 windows for this, I will just scroll down here, and once we reach a project I want to show you more of, I will just stop and show it to you. Kama says, yes, your feedback was very, very helpful. Yeah, this is great to hear. Thank you very much. Okay, so first work, we still haven't reached any animation, but first work I wanted to talk about is this work by Douglas. He says, "This is Casa Chardonnay, my first commercial project of this magnitude done in V-Ray. I'm very happy and very proud of it. I hope this is the first of many projects, since I really like what I do, and I hope to be able to make a living from this and have my own studio just like most of us here dream of." Well, lovely heartfelt description, Douglas. Easy to wish you success after reading this. Now let's take a look at the project itself. So this is it. So maybe we'll open this, and let me take a sip of my ginger shot and we can start talking about this. Okay, so I'll start in typical way. I'll tell you that the images here are actually not perfect. This is not why I show you this project. They are partially a bit oversaturated. Here, for example, you have a bit of a blue hour mood, and it's pretty impossible for warm colors like red, orange, and yellow to be that saturated in this type of setting. Here, once again, we have very, very oversaturated colors that are almost distracting. Also, this, how should I put it, bloom, dreamy volumetric effect is over the top. I don't like it that much. But this is not a big issue, actually. Why? Because of all the love, care, and attention that you have put into this work. Doesn't matter if it's like, the park, which is secondary. It's just a foreground for the house. It doesn't really have anything to do with it. But you have put so much detail and fitting materials and care into this that it's just a pleasure to view those images. And this is what sticks out the most. And to me, the highlight here is also the variety of scenes. You could have just taken an overcast sky and made your outdoor and indoor photos and just call it a day. But instead, what you did is go, no, we'll have a day mood, we'll have an evening mood, we'll have something like this, which is absolutely amazing framing. Then we'll have a scene like this with amazing storytelling. Here you see probably the dad and the kids playing in the courtyard. And he's just on his phone because, yeah, they're safe. This is an enclosed courtyard. Why not? Next, we have this very dreamy, very nice, moody interior scene with the god rays, followed by an evening version of it. Then another different version once again. Here we also have this overly saturated materials for sure, but nevertheless, this is really great. Then we have the dining table, for example. I really like this example. So once we see it in combination with the kitchen, then we see it on its own and how much light it has. And then there is a storytelling element where you show us how the two people are just sitting on the table and having a good time, talking, chilling, whatever. Then we have the kitchen, very informative shot, really good. And then we have this very Anlay inspired, very moody, atmospheric sunset or sunrise shot. I gotta give you a compliment here. First moment I saw this part here, I thought this is an actual unlay shot, and this is a real compliment, believe me. Then another kitchen shot, and then this bedroom shot. I really love this one. Why? Because it's not over the top. Most artists would just turn on all the lights leading to the bedroom in order to show more. What you did here, however, is probably the thing that most future inhabitants will actually experience. They will turn off the lights in the rest of the apartment or in the rest of the house and then approach their bedroom. So this is what they will be seeing, and you're showing this here. And then we have a day shot. It has some issues here with either the reflections or the modeling. You should check those and get rid of them. But apart from that, it's really, really good. You really made sure that you show this this home in an exciting and emotional way that is still informative. And you did an amazing job with this. I highly value this work of yours because it's amazing. Okay, let's continue scrolling down here. This is actually the second project that I wanted to show you today. It is a project by Lord Fred. Now, obviously, I want to know more about your name, man. Is this your actual name? Is it a nickname? Are you a lord? This would be really, really cool, I gotta say. Anyway, what we have here is this staircase. We don't know more than that it's done in 3ds Max and Corona. So in future, gladly tell us a bit more about your work because it helps us better understand it. But what I really like is that it's a pretty unique scene, I would say. It's not your everyday typical interior. The modeling and texturing here are both pretty good, and it's definitely not an easy one to pull off. And a messy job would absolutely ruin this scene. The highlight to me, however, is the way you put this staircase situation on display. First of all, the framing, this central perspective, a total must when it comes to situations like this, staircases like this. And then the lighting. Now, illumination coming from behind the camera usually is kind of problematic because it results in flat images with no depth to them. Here, however, it works very good. It brings the staircase into focus and makes it imposant, because staircases like this are made to impress. They are not the most pragmatic solutions, let's call it like this, but they must be impressive. And for this to work, they need to be properly visualized. And this is exactly what you did here. Now, I agree with Amit regarding the exposure. It feels like the scene is a tiny bit underexposed. I took it over to Photoshop, and yeah, if you add a bit more contrast, a bit more exposure, brightness to the scene, it actually becomes better, if you ask me. Take a look at this. I think it's a better version compared to the original, which is a bit dull, a bit muted. But nevertheless, it is a great example of a good work made out of many single quality components, and it's great. Okay, now let's continue moving down, and we come to the very first animation, and there have been many animations in the last 2 weeks. This is the first of them, and I really like it. I really enjoy the transitions here, the camera movement, pretty sweet. We also have another one. We already saw the tutorial for this in the beginning. It's Bilal showing how these tables get disintegrated and rebuilt into a new table. Really sweet one, very cool effect. This one I want to show you. I won't be going into detail, but this is a work by Ahmed. And, you know, Ahmed is one of those artists who has a tendency of preferring quantity over quality sometimes. But in this particular case, he actually did a really great job. There isn't actually much to criticize here. This looks very good. So Ahmed, you're on the right track. Keep going on it. Okay, let's continue. Lots and lots of other works, and then the next animation, this one by Mohammad Nazemi. And we already talked about the work of his in the end of the previous show. And I gotta say, he's an exceptional artist that we really need to keep our eyes on, because the way he depicts nature and also this aerial perspective, the volumetric effects, the weather effects, is just really, really cool. And the mood and atmosphere of his works is just amazing. Then a very surprising, I've only seen still images by Stella so far, and it was a great surprise to see this one animation done in Max and Corona. It's simple, yeah, but it shows the whole bathroom and has some dynamic with these natural gobbles here, and it's actually really amazing. I love this one. Simple, yes, but also great. Um, okay, I see Douglas. Oh, dude, you missed. You were too late and you missed. Well, you can always watch the recording. Your work is great. We can summarize it like this. Your work is really, really great. The amount of attention and care you have put into it, making sure that you depict the house in very different moods, situations, storytelling elements, is just amazing. This is the summary of what I told you. There are some issues, sure, but they don't stick as much as the general passion that you've put does. I see Maceo and Gideon saying, I really love this mood. You probably talk about Muhammad's animation, and yeah, this is, I mean, I'm not sure how much sense it makes that it rains and, you know, the fire is still on and the dude is just chilling there. I mean, there is something very poetic about a person, a human being out there in the rain, because usually with nowadays society, when it rains, we just try to find a shelter to hide from the rain. So having somebody just being there and just not leaving, not trying to hide from the rain, is often open for interpretation. Is it somebody who just, you know, gave up? Or is it somebody who just enjoys it? We never know. Now, once again, the fire may be physically not very correct, but definitely really, really cool. Okay, let's continue down here. By the way, Amir has been making some amazing progress lately. He has shared some images from this bathroom, and they are very, very good. Another animation, this time by Ali Reza, The Greenhouse. We already talked about this project on the previous episode of the show. Before Christmas, and this time we have an animation which is also really, really cool, showing the house from the in and outside. Sorry for not playing the sound. The sounds are actually adding a lot to the mood with such animations, but they are also very problematic when it comes to licensing and stuff like this, so I prefer not to play them so that we don't have any issues with the recording in future. Anyway, this is great. The natural camera movement just makes a huge difference here. Love it. Douglas says, thank you very much for the nice words. You're very, very welcome. This I love by Tilina. I mean, Tilina projects are always lovely, very nature inspired. But here we have this owl, which looks like it's really fed up with everyone and just, you know, tired of everyone's BS. And I love the expression of it. It's just amazing. Let's continue down here. We wanted to see some other animations. Yeah, Ukbem, I saw you in the comments, my friend. Douglas asks, how do you do that type of camera movement? You need to capture it with your phone, most likely, and then transfer it over to your 3D software. With the help of After Effects, you can do it. There are also other means. There are YouTube tutorials on this topic. Just search for this natural camera movement and you'll find a lot. Ukbem, back to your reel here from 2024. It's actually very promising. I really want to see it better. Unfortunately, it looks like a stamp, like a, you know, it's just so small, and a lot of detail gets lost this way. This is a bit unfortunate. Maybe find a way to upscale it in a way so that people can actually enjoy your work, because it, once again, maybe not everything, but some of those projects look really, really cool, and it's a bit of a pity to not be able to see them properly. Marcel says, my fake bedroom animation. Yeah, we can talk about it as well. That's pretty sweet. Next, we have CJ Hernandez, I'm sorry, with a pretty sweet reel from 2024. It would be really cool to know what other solutions have been used next to 3ds Max. So, I don't know, Tyflow, Phoenix, for the animations, where did you render this? There are some great examples, like here, the chocolate simulation. I really love this one. And next you see the ice. And this is amazing. The way the chocolate revolves around the ice and then explodes, just really, really good one. So yeah, seems like he knows what he's doing here. And this one is amazing. I really want to know what this was meant for because, yeah, it looks really, really promising, I gotta say. Let's move down here. The bathroom I told you about, Amir, has really, really improved a lot. Now, Amir, I don't know, is this something that you just decided to recreate? Because I know for a fact that it's also a part of Under Alenkar's Oficina 3D course, one of the spaces that you need to recreate there, or maybe are already given to you. Whatever it is, keep it up in this direction because it's the right one. Yeah, here another animation, this time by Abdi. It doesn't, it's not one of those fascinating, not much happens here, it's just snowing. But honestly, I absolutely love this because this is one of those very natural types of visualizations where it seems like somebody just took out their phone and took a photo. It doesn't look staged, like you really wanted to show something. You just captured a moment in time, and I enjoy shots like this a lot. Next we have another animation by Mohamed Nazemi. Just take a look at this nature depiction, the lawns, the trees, the depth, the aerial perspective, the time of day, the weather. It's really, really good, and also the scattering, masterfully done. So yeah, we should keep an eye on this one. Maseo, yeah. Let's open this on the side and see if we can find your animation, because why shouldn't we? I think this was the last one. Yeah, here it is. I'll remove the sounds. Yeah, this is a light mix animation, actually very, very smart approach. Instead of rendering actual animations, these are single images that have been rendered and then put together with some transitions. And as you can see, it's still very, very nice and very, very, how should I put it, exciting to look at, despite being made out of still images, I would say. Abdi says, thank you very much for the kind words, Theo. I really do appreciate it. You're very welcome, Abdi. I just love images like this. These are very natural. This is a bit like street photography. It doesn't look staged, like everything is perfectly arranged. It's just the way it is, and you captured it. I love that. Okay. Mohamed, if you're watching this, the recording or something later, congrats for, I don't know what you got here, but I think you got some type of certificate for maybe a CALS certificate. Congratulations for this. This is amazing. The project is very cool. I really like the mood of it, the atmosphere. It very fits this time of the year, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. What bothers me here is a bit this one, because to me it doesn't really make much sense for a deer to be here on the inside. And then the usage of AI, it's a bit excessive. And if we take a look here at the right part, you see that the AI has taken over, and that's too much. That kind of ruins your image. You don't need so much of it because it's already very, very good. So if you want to enhance a person, you can do that, but make sure to mask it properly and don't just have AI do all the work, because then something like this happens, and this takes away a lot of the realism and makes it look like everything you did with AI, not with 3D. So it disvalues your work, let's say. Next, we have a project by Rita that I want to show you. It's called Buone Vibrazioni. Nestled in the vibrant heart of Quattro Canti Street, this restaurant bar cafe embodies a perfect blend of luxury and mid-century modern design. The project was conceived from scratch, focusing on creating an aesthetic space. It's done in 3ds Max and Corona. So let's take a look at this. I have it here. Sorry, gotta close a few windows. Yeah. And yeah, I absolutely gotta agree with the title, which means something like good mood, good vibes, something like this. The restaurant, this whatever it is, restaurant, bar, cafe mix has a truly wonderful vibe to it. It has it's bright, it's friendly, it's warm and cozy. It has a unique design, but what I enjoy very much about it is that this unique design is not too overwhelming, not too much in your face. You know what? This is what I like to call a human scale design. So it's made that the people feel right, that the people feel good in it, but it's not so much in their face. It's like, take a look at our design. It's so important, like the most important thing here. The most important thing is still the person, the client, but the design is there to give them a nice ambient. So let's continue. I'll just check the comments here. Amit says, nice work, Maceo. Imagine the video where the light goes off one by one and the cat suddenly jumps to the camera to give a jump scare. Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, this would be pretty sick. Nobody will expect this. You know, we'll be like, oh, another nice animation in our render group, and suddenly you get a jump scare. This would be cool. Nice idea, Amit. Okay, let's continue about Rita's work. Obviously, modeling, texturing, lighting are all very, very fine. Rita is a very skilled, seasoned artist. She knows what she's doing. The only small exception that I found is here, the texture repetition because of the same UV mapping of all of those wooden slats. But this is very, very easily fixed with the UV randomizer, and that would be the end of it. But yeah, to me, the highlight here is that this render session is so good up to the point where it doesn't feel like a render session anymore, and where the contents kind of become more important than the renders. Now, obviously, you see this work in a render community, but still, I gotta think more about the architecture, the design, and this restaurant, bar, cafe mix more than the renders themselves. And it's not because they're like 100% realistic. Obviously, they're very, very good, very realistic, but it's more because of this harmonious amalgamation, let's call it like this, between design, light, composition, camera placement. It just works. You see an image and you're like, oh, you know what? I'll feel right there. I would love to be there. These are the thoughts that I get, and not, wow, how did she render this, or how did she do this? To me, I don't know if it sounds like a compliment, but it definitely is meant like one, because to me, I love projects like this, projects where I forget that it's a render, and even though it's maybe not 100% realistic, like 95 or 98%, I focus more on the contents of the render session rather than the images themselves. So yeah, great work. Really, really enjoyed this one. Bravo, Rita. Then we'll scroll a bit further down to another work, that the last work that I want to talk about today, actually. And this inspirational phase, it's a work by Ario. He says, hello everyone, I share with you my work on Christmas, a living room setup for Christmas done in 3ds Max and Corona. So, oh, I have it here, I have it already, I don't need to open it here. Okay, here it is. So, maybe before we start talking about this Christmas living room by Ario, I need to show you, or we need to talk a bit about Christmas theme renders in general. Because usually when it comes to Christmas shots or Christmas scenes, artists, 3D artists tend to get a bit kitschy, you know. So, you know, you see all of those excessively decorated Christmas trees. Obviously, this is not a render, this is an AI shit, but it doesn't matter. What matters are the contents here. And here you see the excessively decorated Christmas tree with millions of presents underneath and around it, the fireplace with the stockings, the wreath, candles, decorations all over the place. Obviously, all of those elements do make sense because it's like a Christmas theme, but they are also very overused, very cliched, and most of the times really over the top. and the moment, and it at some point it feels like when you see the next scene like this, it feels like you've seen them all, similar to how I feel with Christmas cards, for example. There are exceptions, of course. I mean, Janita had before Christmas or for Christmas such a room. It was kind of like kitschy, but what he did there was something else. Instead of just showing the room, he actually told the story of a boy who was celebrating Christmas with his family, and this is a bit of a different story. But yeah, the general gist when it comes to Christmas renders is to create something like this, which I find to be very overboard and not really relatable. Now let's go back and take a look at Ario's scene here, and you'll see that it's different than that. It's way more casual, way more down to earth, and therefore way more relatable and believable. Despite this being a very classy, expensive looking interior, I can still relate more to this, even though I don't live like that, than to this. I think you catch the drift here. So it looks, if we go to the second shot maybe, it looks like the addition of those Christmas elements has been very natural. Like maybe the people had some type of a lounge chair or something, which is placed here usually. Then they temporarily removed it in order to place the tree, the reindeer here, some decorations. They placed some decorations on the walls, on the racks here and there. But generally, we still have a very normal looking apartment. And to me, at least, this is pretty relatable, because if you visit my home at Christmas time, it will be pretty much the same. Most of the house looks very normal, and then there are parts like we have the Christmas tree in our living room and decorations and lights, whatnot, but most of the space still looks very casual and normal. And this makes it possible to take some really good Arvis shots there. It's only that atop of those good Arvis shots, there is also this enhanced mood through the storytelling of those Christmas holidays. And I think Ario did a great job pulling this off with the modeling, textures, lighting, the exterior, the garden. Everything looks great, with maybe two small exceptions. Here, I agree with Amit on this one. The building on the outside is kind of very prominent, very almost distracting, so saturated as it is. So gladly maybe desaturated. And the second thing is, if you take a look at the stairs construction here, it looks like they're made out of one single block, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Instead, you need more detail, make it look as if it's done from single panels for the footsteps, the riser, and the sides, and then it will be really, really good. Yeah, so great approach to a Christmas scene. This is something that I would recommend to all of you, because it looks way more natural and way more relatable to most people than this stuff here. Yeah, and I think here we are at the end of this part where we talk about other artists. Now it's time to talk about me. No, jokes aside, but it's actually something that, you've been, or some of you at least, have been asking for a while now, to talk about one of my projects. And instead of, just picking one of the old projects, I decided to share with you something I did recently, an exercise, a study, you want to call it. So yeah, you remember on the last show I showed you this teaser for that. So let's see what the whole thing is about. Let me explain it now. So for a long time, I actually wanted to experiment with indirect, or let's call it even insufficient, natural lighting. The natural part is here very, very important. So of course, you can have an enclosed interior that you only illuminate with artificial lighting, but this was not the point. I wanted a situation where there is a different type of lighting, an indirect natural lighting illuminating the scene, because stuff like this is tricky to pull off and also tricky to render, because it relies very much on secondary bounces, reflected light, and so on. I'll check the comments. I see Marcel says, sweet, another stalker image. Yeah, I love this. For some reason, I don't know. In real life, I'm not like that. I don't hide behind stuff to take a look at other stuff. But when it comes to renderings, I really love it. It's a simple explanation actually. It's just the framing. If you only have this ottoman here or this stool here and a plant on top of it, it would be good. But putting the camera behind the backrest of a chair gives me this cool framings, gives me the depth because of the depth of field effect, and I love effects like this. So yeah, this is why I do this. Anyway, back to the topic. I searched for a reference because with a topic like this, indirect, insufficient natural lighting, you don't want to simply come up with something like you might do in other situations. For example, I can go to the Cosmos library, pick a random vehicle, and then start creating some natural surroundings for it, like a road and a forest around and stuff like this, and see where the whole thing goes. In this particular case, however, I have a very difficult illuminational situation, so I need a reference that I can follow in order to make sure that what I produce actually makes sense and is a valid outcome. And I found my reference in the face of the Light Walls house, and I will start showing you stuff from it right now. So let's see where this opens. Oh, it opens where it should. This is a new one. Good. Okay. Now what you see here is the facade of the Light Walls house. It's a project by MA Style Architects, a Japanese studio. And the thing about it, I think you can immediately see it. It's a facade with almost no openings, apart from a few really, really small windows that are there more for the view from the inside out. So against claustrophobia or against a certain claustrophobic feeling that you may have being in a box without windows. And the house relies on indirect light from the roof construction that you obviously cannot see here. Now, on this shot, this is obviously an exterior. I wasn't actually after an exterior more than an interior, but I still created the outside. These are not the actual surroundings of the house, because in real life it's situated in a dense Japanese city, so in an urban environment. And I had absolutely no interest in reproducing the surrounding houses. So this is why I just came up with this, let's call it natural environment, where I very much enjoy the contrast between these organic forms of stones, rocks, cliffs, and the straight linear forms of the facade. This is just a cool contrast, at least according to my own taste. Now let's open the door and get inside. Helen says, beautiful. Thank you very much. You saw me do it. It's not a surprise to you, but I appreciate the support. Love you. Okay, and let's really get inside. And once we're on the inside, you actually see what the whole thing is about. You might have already seen this project somewhere on ArchDaily. You see how it works out. You have this ceiling, and the ceiling doesn't actually attach to the wall. You see the walls have no windows in them. And the ceiling doesn't really touch the walls. Instead, the light comes from above. There is a gap, obviously with a glazed gap. The light comes from above and then bounces off this slightly tilted wooden panel cladding that we have on the inner walls and scatters into the interior space. And additionally, of course, if the photo is taken at the right time of the day, the light also creates those beautiful, beautiful patterns on the walls. So the whole structure here is more or less the enclosed walls. This is just a boxy house. Then you have this wooden platform in the middle, and on top of it there are those functional boxes, let's call them like this. They're for living, for storage, meant as a bathroom. Gideon says, what's the name of the project once again? It's Light Walls House by MA Style Architects. So yeah, back to this one, for example. This is like a 2-story functional box. Up here, you can climb the ladder and just enter this space, which is, I don't know, some type of a room where you can just, have a bit of a solitude, enjoy a book or a sleep or something like this. And down here, the bottom part is actually facing the kitchen, which you see a part of here, and it's a bit of a storage. Okay. Just for your orientation, what you see here, this box is the bathroom. Here, once again, we see the kitchen, and here we see a part of the bedroom box. And on the next shot, here is the actual bedroom box. Here, once again, the kitchen, here the bathroom. And yeah, I mean, it's Japanese interior. Everything is a bit different than maybe a lot of us are used to. But yeah, you can see that, yeah, it's more or less a box with a curtain. So if you want to have your private sphere, you just climb inside, crawl inside, and then you just pull the curtain shut, and then you have your privacy. Exactly, Light Walls House MA Style Architects. This is it. When I post this project in the group, I'll of course link to them and credit them as it should be done. Okay, here a shot from the kitchen. Once again, we have this very, very beautiful pattern. And I know if you take a look, if you try to reduce this like in its elements, you would say, oh, this is a very simple project. It's like 3 materials, it's wood, a bit of a concrete on the floor, and then the white paint on the functional boxes. That's all of it. This shouldn't have taken a long time. Well, actually it did, because first of all, I needed to gather all the input. I didn't have the plans for this one, so I had to, I mean, I had a floor plan as an image, but I didn't have any sections or side views or anything like this. So I needed to do a lot of research. And then because I wanted to more or less build all of it, it took a while. It's not that easy. We've talked a lot about this. Marcel says, how long did it take you to recreate it? Well, I'm doing this in my free time, so I cannot say. I mean, I've been doing this since probably in the beginning of December, but always, you know, just a few hours here and there. But it took a while, probably a few days, because a project like this, you know, minimalistic work, it needs to be really, really nicely done in order to be exciting and a pleasure to look at. This is just the reality of things. It can be done quicker, but it won't be good. So this is a very finely balanced project. And once again, the lighting here is a very special and unique topic. So it's not something we're used to, like, you know, the big windows and you have the natural light streaming in. It's not the case here. So you need or at least I needed to change the way I think, to change the way I construct and view the things in order for this to work out. But in the end, it very much did. So yeah, here's a kitchen shot. Really, really like this one with the pattern, with the soft shadows here. And also, I like the architecture as well, even though I changed it a bit here, I gotta admit, because in the original concept or in the original project, the kitchen is actually has an open front here, so you can even see the plumbing underneath the sink, for example, which I didn't find that aesthetically pleasing. And also, to be very honest with you, I didn't want to recreate the plumbing. It's no fun doing so. But architecture-wise, design-wise, it's a really cool concept, you know, because first of all, it's like you have this interior city, like a small city within your interior, which is something very special, but also certain small design elements, like here, for example, you have the wooden counter, like everything is made out of wood, and it is clad in stainless steel sheets in order for you to be able to conveniently cook. So, and it's not only the counter, but it's also the back wall in order to prevent splash dirt. Marcel says, love it. Amit says, with just the sunlight, how did you manage to light the interior? Was it some exposure control, or how did it work out? Of course, it's a mix of exposure control, light mix, where you can also pump up the values of the environmental lighting, so that a bit more of it comes through the openings in the ceiling, and toning down the sunlight as well, because otherwise the overexposure happens very, very easily. Marcel says, looks like architectural photography. Vira or Corona? It's Corona. I'm a Corona user. Okay. Here, this is the shot. I had shown you just this part of it. But yeah, here is the whole stalker shot, as you like to call it. And here is the scene that it is, let's say, a part of as a close-up. So we have another living box. This time, once again, up there is a, I don't know, this room for chilling, for relaxing. And down here we have a closet facing the home office. Yeah, and once again, I mean, some of the angles I recreated exactly like this one, for example, because once again, I wanted to make sure that what I depict actually works, in terms of physics and in terms of illumination. Other shots I created just the way I like them, like this one, for example, this or this, because I have the freedom to do so, right? And for example, this stool here, the chair, the books, I added on my own because I liked it. I think it adds to the simplicity and makes the scene a bit more interesting. Here, another angle of the kitchen. You see, it's kind of narrow there, but it's not claustrophobic. Every time it gets too narrow, they put some type of a small window so that people still have a view and don't feel cramped, Okay, let's continue. Here, another view of the home office. Here is a view I came up with. There were no shots from those closets or from those storage areas, but I tried to figure out how they would look like, and decided to also take a shot from within one of those. This is not a storage. This is like the closet, but yeah, looking towards the home office. Here we have another view. So in the beginning we had this shot here where we see this ladder, and now on the shot where we just reached, we are staying by this ladder looking in the opposite direction. So this is the ladder that you just saw, and here you see how at some point this home office area, desk area ends, then there is this small room which is actually a toilet, and then the kitchen starts. And then another view from the kitchen, just because I love this light pattern on the wall. And then a view from the office, we just saw this part back here on this shot. This is the corner of the office that we look upon on this shot here. I made two versions here because I wasn't sure which one is better. Sometimes I cannot decide and I just render both. And also what you can see here is that these two story spaces actually have a window facing the facade, and this is why the facade also has this opening in it, so that once you're in the second story you can look on the outside. Douglas says that plant run to the entire project for the renders, the one from the stalker shot, Yeah, well, we need to have some orientation, don't we? Marcel said, in the kitchen, did you put the Utah teapot? The Utah teapot? You mean on this one? Is it the Utah teapot? I cannot tell you. If this is it, then yeah. Okay. And so far we've only had this portrait photo mode. Now let's go to the landscape mode, where we can see this conglomeration of boxes, this very urban feeling within the limits of this house. And the final shot that I rendered is the ceiling structure, because I really, really love this detail. So the thing is, though, my initial goal wasn't to stop here. I already, trained my modeling, texturing, lighting skills up to this point, but I didn't want to just stop here and call it a day, just share the images in the group and that's it. I wanted to go further, that since the last Corona update, we've actually have the possibility to have a live link to Vantage. So my next stop would have been to check out how this project looks like in Vantage. So what I did is I just went back to this shot here and pressed the live link button, and I'll show you the result of what it looked like. And it looked like this. So, just started live link, and this was what I was greeted with. So as you can tell, this is not really the same, right? What looks good in Corona doesn't necessarily look good in Vantage, and there are multiple reasons for this. First of all, Vantage still doesn't support, or yet, doesn't support all materials yet. I assume that at some point, more and more, this is what's been happening in recent times. With every next update, more materials are supported. So I assume that soon more materials will be supported, and at some point, maybe all of them. And the second thing is that once you establish a live link between Corona and Vantage, the Corona materials first need to be converted to V-Ray materials so that they get displayed in Vantage at all. And this also doesn't work flawlessly. So yeah, as you can see here, everything is too dark, but this can be easily fixed within Vantage with exposure adjustments and color corrections. And this is what I did. And I managed to make it resemble the exposure and tone mapping of the original Corona image. But now we see that we have some very big material issues. Everything is kind of too shiny. Just take a look at this wall paint material compared to the original. It's very glossy. And it's not the only thing. Take a look at the blend. It looks like it's made out of steel or something. Also, what I figured out, not supported, curvature material, triplanar material, AO, and UV randomizer, at least partially. Now, where I use curvature material is, for example, let's go back to maybe this shot and take a look at the ladder. It's wood, but you see that there is something like an inverted ambient occlusion on the edges of this ladder, and this comes from the curvature. I just made the material darker there, and this way the form is more natural and more perceptible. Okay, let's go back to our comparison and see what we can do about this. Marcel asks, what is your hardware? I have a 2990VX Threadripper with 32 cores and 64 virtual cores, if I'm not mistaken, and an RTX 1490. Abdi, still prefer calling the Nuo teapot. Okay, you guys seem to be experts on teapots. I'm not, so I'll just shut up. Amit says Shadowcatcher is also not supported. I think I haven't tried it. I didn't need it. I didn't want to test everything. I just wanted to see how a project that I already have, the nice outcome of in Corona, how it turns out to be in Vantage. So we have the problem which we just mentioned with the not supported materials that don't look good or the way they should, and so on. So the fix here is unfortunately a bit tedious, because what you need to do in order for this to work is that you need to go back to Corona and you need to adapt and rework your materials until they look nice in Vantage and don't look nice anymore in Corona. But, we already have the Corona images, so it doesn't matter. I just already saved the Corona file and then made a copy of it and then saved it under a new name where the materials are now reworked. And this is the outcome that I came up with. And I would say that, at least at first glance, the outcome by Vantage is pretty close to the Corona outcome. Yeah, it's not that fine. Vantage is more, how should I call it, brute forcey. You see, for example, here in a Corona image, we have those very pleasant soft shadows. This area here is nicely illuminated, whereas in Vantage, this area is kind of dark and we're missing all those soft shadows. There are some texture repetitions too. Take a look at the ceiling. Here, the ceiling, everything is nicely randomized. Here, we have the repetitions. And as you know, they are a big snitch of something being a render and not an actual photo. And also we have a bit of an unbalanced material behavior, generally speaking. If you take a look at those beams up here, for example, you see how the beams on the Corona version look the same. It doesn't matter which direction they face. Whereas in Vantage, the beams to the left, it's the same beams, same material, same everything. And in Vantage, the beams here are very saturated. And to the right, they're very desaturated and kind of dull and I don't know, just bland looking for some reason. I cannot tell you why. But still, if you take a look at the Vantage image on its own, it's still a very good image. So without any direct comparison, I think that the Vantage images are actually pretty good. And here comes the second thing, the render times. So I already told you the images are all rendered in 3K. And I already told you my configuration. So I have a pretty good Threadripper CPU. I have a very, very mighty and strong GPU. But yeah, a Corona shot like this one rendered for 1.5 hours. Most of the others rendered for 2 hours, some of them even for 3. So let's say in average, the Corona image renders for 2 hours. At the same time, this Vantage image that you see here, once again in 3K with ultra settings and 1000 samples, rendered for 2 minutes. Meaning that altogether I have 15 shots. With the Corona render times, 2 hours per image per 15 shots, this makes 30 hours. With the Vantage times, 2 minutes per render, it makes 30 minutes. And 30 minutes are just a small fraction from the 30 hours. And now you need to evaluate which one is more important. Do you want the perfect realism from Corona, or do you want something that is photorealistic-ish, as Mike likes to put it, but takes way less to render? Because in the end of the day, shorter render times also mean that you can also spend more time working on your file, on your scene, put in more detail, make it populate it more, and do all of those that nice stuff. Amit says also there is a sudden shadow behind the chair. Well, yeah, the shadow is there in Corona too, but it's very, very subtle. You barely see it. Where here, once again, it's more brute forcey, a bit rougher, so you see it more. Douglas says these are the kind of things that only us artists notice. I wouldn't say so. Some clients really know what they want, and they would never go for a Vantage for the image to the right. They want like absolute photorealism, but these are not the most clients, let's be honest. Amit says that's one thing I can say with comparison to render time is that Vantage renders faster. Yeah. Once again, I have a very mighty GPU, but the comparison here is, once again, 30 hours to 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you can do it while, having your cup of tea or something, and you're ready with 15 images. This is just impressive. Maceo, but it is not the same quality of Corona. I think it depends on the budget and the time of work to make the animation in Corona or Vantage. Definitely, it definitely does. Absolutely agree. Mikhail says, but how much time did it take for you to reestablish all the materials again? Yeah, this is of course something that you need to take in consideration. However, it took me probably a day, and I still haven't finished them all. I saw some issues here and there while rendering these. But I gotta say that at the same time, I wouldn't recommend rendering something in Corona and then reworking the scene and re-rendering it in Vantage, because this makes no sense unless you suddenly need to make an animation or something like this. So what I would recommend instead is, in the beginning of your work, depending on the conditions of it, budget, time limit, client's needs, and so on, in the beginning of your work, decide which one you want to go with. And either go with Corona if you want the absolute photorealism at the expense of longer render times, or go with Vantage and have those very quick images and potential animations. Amit says, as this is just the first update, as how time passes, I hope Tom and the Chaos guys will make the compatibility issue go away, and then it will be F1 race with the render times. Well, yeah, I mean, if I had done all of this in V-Ray, the difference wouldn't have been as big as it was with Corona, because once again we have two hurdles here. With V-Ray you only have one, the materials that are not supported. Everything else looks exactly the same as it should. So yeah, it's a balance game, but it's great to know. What I wanted to see here is how it will actually turn out. I wanted to have a direct comparison, because this is something I feel that we were lacking, and this is something that I want to show to you. Marcel says in that case, use V-Ray from the beginning. Of course, yeah. Abdi, who's been using Vantage for a long time now, he says, I'd say that Vantage renders works best as previews for the client so that they have something to select from, and the final render can be done in high quality using the render engine of your choice and not Vantage. This is a time saver and can help keeping the efficiency at a higher level, in my opinion. Yeah, of course, you can say this because you as a V-Ray user, your renders, apart from those materials that are not supported, your renders look pretty much the same in V-Ray and in Vantage. We as Corona users or us Corona users have also the second hurdle that once transferring Corona materials to V-Ray, that they don't perfectly transfer. So we need to actually rework our materials, some of our materials from scratch. As you can see here, for example, the parquet texture didn't show up at all. So yeah, I will show you further comparisons here. So to the left, the Corona raw render, to the right, the Vantage Live Link render with reworked materials. And yeah, apart from some issues like the missing texture randomization, I think that the images on their own are actually pretty solid. There are some topics that I have a hard time with, like to create a brightly colored, like white curtain material, also to remove some of the gloss from cloth materials or fabrics. At some point, I also got this reddish tint or hue on my metal material. I managed to counter it by adding some green to it. You'll see it on the next shot. It's way better. The red is gone. But yeah, if you compare, let's say, this pretty complex metal material, yeah, you see it looks definitely better in Corona. But once again, if you take a look only at the Vantage shot, I don't find it to be a bad shot at all. Marcel says in an interactive render in Corona, it is also super fast and is closer to the final result. Well, yeah, but I think that Vantage is way faster when it comes to interactive renders and showing something which is very nicely resembles the final result. Okay, here this is one example, this shot and the next one you see, where I actually don't see such a big difference between the Corona and the Vantage version, honestly. I mean, to me, these are pretty nicely matching. So I think it also depends on the type of project, on the situation, on the scene. These two are also, I wouldn't say exchangeable, but definitely, yeah, definitely the Vantage version holds up really nicely. Here it is on its own. Here in the kitchen, once again, the metal material, kind of difficult, but it still worked out. Here in the office, Vantage didn't do a great job here with the baseboard and with the paint material. As you can tell, it's kind of too glossy here. But still, here on the inside, it's actually pretty comparable. I saw that this material here, I still haven't reworked properly. And also one issue that I have with Vantage is that I cannot, with Live Link at least, I cannot manage to actually make my light sources invisible. They're still visible, which is obviously a problem. Here, another one where I think Vantage also did a pretty great job, also with the depth of field and everything. Here, the oranges, take a look at the Vantage oranges. They're pretty sweet, right? Those here as well, once again, I don't see a huge difference apart from the lighting. It's just that Corona is simply amazing, especially when it comes to architectural visualization, interiors. You can clearly see very naturally depicted lights and shadows, whereas Vantage kind of tries to simulate it here. We have this yellow, not so good looking area, but apart from that, it still very nicely holds up. Yeah, here the second shot, I think it's even better in this case. And the last two here, there is no comparison, but still. Abdi says, yes, I just love Vantage and it really delivers a great result and performance when using V-Ray and the Live Link. It's a game changer, to be honest. It definitely is. It's absolutely. So yeah, I think in conclusion, we can say that Vantage can produce quality images that hold up to Corona quality at first glance, not in detail, obviously not by a detailed direct comparison, but still they can hold up. I think the image that we here have is a definite proof. And what Vantage can also do while creating all of those images is something that, let's experiment here for a second, but I will open the scene now in Max. We're having a live stream here. The scene is a bit heavy, so it can happen that now everything stutters a bit for a moment or slows down or something like this. So yeah, bear with me for a moment here, but we will try to start a Vantage live link of this scene and see if it works out in a live session on Facebook. I'll open Vantage. I already have it open. We'll need a moment to wait until the scene loads up in Vantage, the live link is established, and then we can see how it goes. Amit says, will you try this file with Envision? Any thoughts? Well, definitely. I would gladly try to see what Envision is about, but I still haven't had the time. Once again, I'm doing all of this in my free time, and it is kind of limited. Marcel says, what a good exercise to do, the same in Corona and Vantage. Yeah, once again, I'm glad you like it, first of all, but I had really the feeling that we're missing something like this direct comparison. Like, you make the very same scene from the same angle with the same lighting in two different softwares and then compare so that you can see what the software is actually capable of. So I hope you can still hear me. It seems like Vantage is loading. I hope it works, because once again, this puts some stress on my card, but actually it should be able to pack it. So tell me when you see the Vantage scene, and we can start to take a look at it. And also gladly tell me what you think about this whole exercise, the images, the topic, and all of this. I finished my how is this thing called? Ginger shot, and full of energy. We can do the show twice as long. So yeah, you see the exterior. Yeah, this is the exterior area. So this is exactly what I was telling you. So in Vantage, I rendered all the images that we just saw, but what we can do now here is also something very, very sweet. So we can just take a walk to this house. And this is something that you cannot do like this in Corona. It's not loading, I just stopped moving. But yeah, let me introduce you to the house. So you come here from the inside, there is this concrete corridor, and you can come out here at the other side where the house looks the same, with the exception of these two very, very small windows. Now, when we enter the house, once again, we see the kitchen. I have the outer exposure turned on. I think it doesn't really always do a good job. For me, this scene should have been a bit darker, but still. So here's the kitchen. Here is this space that you have, the storage space for the kitchen. Here it is when we take a look at it from the front. Here is, for example, one of the shots that we had taken from this angle. If we continue, this is where the kitchen and your favorite teapots are situated. Here is the kitchen corner, and the kitchen goes to this direction when there is a second sink for whatever reason. Yeah, and here we are. Here is the stalker plant, as we now officially call it. Here is also the bedroom. I mean, it's cool if you're not very claustrophobic, but you don't need to be, because actually this box is pretty high, and there is also a hole on the ceiling, so you can see the ceiling construction and not only the top of the box or the underside of the box. Here is the very, very first shot that we started with, so just you can orientate yourself. Here, this box is the bathroom, this is the toilet, this is the whatever room with the storage or the closet underneath, this is the bedroom. This is another secluded room with storage underneath, and here we can enter the office. You see everything what we just see happens in real time, and I think this is absolutely amazing. Gideon says, I think it's actually a very nice challenge and it does reveal some interesting truths. Well, then it's absolutely great because this is what I wanted for this to be. Gideon continues, although I still don't understand the light coming from the roof, if you could explain on it, I appreciate it. Yeah, here it is. Here you can see it. It's this ceiling structure. It doesn't touch the wall. There is this gap that you see up there, and this gap lets some natural light in. This light bounces from the walls. You see the cladding on the walls is those slightly tilted panels, and the light bounces off it and jumps into the room. So yeah, there is a lot of light bouncing happening here, but this is also great that we see that our engines can actually pull it off. Here is the closet. Once again, this is where we took this one shot. Just with the camera was a bit lower. And here we can go around the corner and yeah, this is more or less this house. This is the whole of it. So yeah, this is of course something that comes with Vantage. Of course, as Marcelo says, holy shit, the power of RTX 4090. Yeah, with this card, you can do something like this while live streaming and walk through this house like in a computer game. This is of course amazing. But also when it comes to the creation of close-ups, you know, I just adore the close-ups that you can take with Vantage. Just take a look at this. This would just be ready in a second here. I'll just enable the depth of field so that we can focus on the plant, and the exposure bias will maybe turn down a bit. And yeah, actually the image is already done. I mean, at least in my case, I cannot compare with the Corona interactive render because it would have taken way longer for this to be such a clear image with so much detail. And this is just amazing. You can, doing close-ups, this is really a favorite thing of mine, is something that you can here do just within seconds. It's done. Here, the close-up is ready. Dan says, I've just found out this live series in Chaos Campus group. Can I ask if you can rewatch it in any other platform besides Facebook, like YouTube or Chaos website? No, but there is a recording of every single live session we've had here. That you can just go back and watch. Just type Keeping It Realistic in the search bar and you'll be able to find all the live sessions and rewatch them wherever you please. But yeah, this show is exclusive to the group. Okay, I think it's time to maybe stop the live link. But I think you saw the advantage of Vantage. It's huge. It's a big deal if you ask me. I'll close it now so that we don't strain our connection, but it's a great thing if you ask me. So once again, I think your render choice in the end of the day really depends. No, this was not it. Really depends on your needs, on the purpose, on the project conditions, the client needs. If you want it to be quick and still look good, go for Vantage. If you want absolute photorealism for a catalog, a magazine, huge billboard or something, then yeah, go with Corona, but take some render times in account. Abdi says, I think this is a pretty amazing job you've done here, and it's also a wonderful way to exercise and experiment with different render engines and software, which would greatly enhance an artist's skill set. Yeah, thank you very much, dear Abdi. And here we come, actually, this is a good moment to go to our surprise that I told you about. I'm not sure if you registered this throughout watching those images or viewing those images with me, but the interiors were actually done solely and only with Cosmos materials and assets and nothing else. Obviously, apart from those outdoor areas where we have Quixel stuff, and of course I have many materials that are heavily modified, even some assets as well too, but there is a reason for this, and I wasn't fully honest with you in the beginning. Experimenting with indirect lighting wasn't the only reason for me to do this project. I actually wanted to make a scene that I want to share with all of you, but not as an FBX or as an OBJ, but as the way you see it here. So that once you open the scene on your side, you can actually create the images that I've just shown you. A scene for you to exercise with, to study if you want to, the modeling, materials, lighting setup of, and also recreate the existing angles if you want to, but also create new ones or experiment with the design. And this is this scene, at least an interior scene like this. And I really hope that it will help you, because if we go back to Max, I hope I didn't close it. If we go back to Max and take a look at the house, we can remove the surroundings. This is, I cannot give you the Quicksolve stuff, but I can give you anything else, because once again, it's Cosmos stuff that you already have. This makes it available for me to share this with you. But yeah, as you can see, this is the house. It is very nice. It's a very interesting object. And the cool thing about it is here you can also, Gideon, here you can also see the structure. So you have some glazing up here, and then you have this construction of the roof, and yeah, this is what you have. But if we remove the roof, if we go down here and maybe go to the construction roof and construction ceiling, we can take a look into this house. And what you see here, you see the file I have prepared in a way where everything should be immediately visible to you, I hope. So you can see, for example, built-in space living boxes. If I disable this layer, suddenly we have an empty interior, right? And this empty interior, you could do whatever you please with. You can do different furnishing. You can do whatever you want, you know, and you can go even further. You can remove all the built-in stuff like the desk, the kitchen, the wardrobe, the toilet bowl, and then you just end up with this hangar-like interior where you can just place a car and make it something like a showroom if you wish. Additionally, all the assets and stuff are also here on separate layers, like books, chairs, deco elements, and they are color coded so that you can see, for example, green are plants or stuff like this. And you can, of course, turn them off as well. And suddenly you have this empty area with a still very nice lighting to it. So if we try to get down here, for example, okay, this is of course always tricky. Oh, I have an orthographic view. This, of course, explains a lot. But let's say we turn back the, where are we? The roof and the ceiling. You still have a very, very cool looking interior that you can experiment with. Amit says, thank you, Theo. We'll gladly experiment with the file that you provide. Marcelo, to use Vantage is good to rescale the texture so that it consumes less VRAM. There are several scripts that make it automatic. This is a great tip. Unless you have an RTX 4090 like Theo. Yeah, well, optimization is optimization. It's always good. Abdi says you should see my PC in response to Marcelo. Amit, New Year gift from Theo to all. Simon, you're the man, Teodor Vladov. Well, I'm glad you like the idea. I hope you like the space. I think we can experiment a lot when it comes to interior stuff with this one. It's not only about creating good interior shots. You can also try out, you know, doing animations. You can try out Vantage. You can try out Corona, whatnot. Now, let me explain the status quo. The Max and Corona model, obviously, you just see it here. The Max and Corona model is already done. It's finalized. The Max and Corona model modified for Vantage is also almost ready. And this is another one that I plan to share with you. Again, it's a different one because I had to adapt the materials and rework them. So you cannot just use one model for both. You need either the one model or the other one. Also, on the side, Max with V-Ray model is in the works. I reached out to Abdi to ask him for help. So he knew about all of this, and he's been supporting me in converting the Corona materials into V-Ray. So this is also in the works, and I also plan to share a model like this too. And of course, at some point, also a VR scene. And of course, for those who don't use Max, an FBX and an OBJ or either order model. Now, of course, as I told you, I'm doing this in my free time. I don't have the time and the resources to also recreate this house in Rhino and in SketchUp and in Cinema. I just don't have the time for this. But we did a survey in the group. We saw a survey from the VW Art Club. Max still seems to be the industry standard with like 40-50% of the users using it. So I think it makes sense. Also, this is the software I'm most fit in. So once again, it makes sense. So it won't be like immediately, but one after the other, I will start sharing these models with you. I'll probably make a pinned post and put everything on my Google Drive so that you can go and download it with some instructions probably, and then you can just start experimenting with it. Yeah, you can do the same as I did on the outside. You don't have to hold on to the original reference. If you want to, you can try to maybe get it even better than I did. But you can also experiment the same way I did with my exterior shots and just place them in some surroundings that I liked. And I did it just for probably an hour. And I plan to do actually further versions of surroundings for this house because why not? Actually. And I really hope that this will be useful to you, and of course be fair. You can of course recreate some of the angles. Once again, I think you saw this, the cameras and stuff will be inside. What's important here, this is a bit tricky because of the type of illumination of this house, is that you see how every camera has a name to it. It's like interior B, and it says the sun position, and it states the sun's position like 1042 and the north angle. This is important because in this case I actually work with a daylight system, and if you go here, you can change the time of the day, the hour, the minutes, the month, the day, and here down here also the north angle. And you will need this in order to get really the best possible illumination with these patterns on the walls for each angle. But you can of course come up with your own angles if you want to recreate mine, which are partially also recreated after the original angles. Then you need to follow the naming of those cameras that you see here, and then you'll get the same images as I had. And of course, once again, please be fair with this. You can of course share this if you want to do this and recreate some of those angles. Do this. You can share them in your portfolio if you wish, but be fair that it was not you who created the model. It was somebody else. As this model that you used, you created only the angles or something like this as an exercise. Don't make it look like you did all the work, because this would be a deception, and this is not a good thing. Also, if you're having a course or something, don't use this as a base for the course. Then you have to create something on your own. But if you want to experiment, if you want to create something new based on this, you're more than welcome to. And once again, gladly share your progress in the group. Gladly let us create versions of the interior, for example. I also have some ideas that I want to experiment with. So this is not the end of this project. It's actually just the beginning. And I wanted this to be a hopefully pleasant surprise, as Amit puts it, a gift to you in the beginning of the year. Now let me check the comments, because there's a lot going on there. Marcelo says another disadvantage is that you cannot export Corona animation objects to Vantage like in V-Ray. Yeah, there are some limitations for sure, but we make the best out of what we have. Simon says, I have Corona 11 in Max 2024. Is it going to work, or did you use a new version? Yeah, I used Corona 12 update 1, which is the one which makes this live link to Vantage available. Abdi, thanks a ton for sharing this great project file. Looking forward to creating some sample scenes with it. Yeah, especially you, Abdi. You can use like the kitchen, for example, to create some whatnot water simulations, like boiling water, steam coming out of something. I don't know. I mean, I think you can use this in future also. I mean, if it's just a part of it, like for your tutorials or something like this, I think the tutorials of some of you are only made for us to profit from. So using these as a base for something like this definitely is great on my side. Douglas, really good project, Theo. It's gonna be a good inspiration. Thanks for sharing. You're very welcome. I hope it's more than inspiration. I hope it's a way of learning. Instead of, trying to explain every single aspect to you, I just give you a file that I have done. You can see the modeling, the approach, the modifiers and everything. Now, regarding modifiers, the only modifier used, which is a third-party one, is the floor generator. I assume most of you are actually all of you who are into RVs must have it. If not, you can download this for free in its basic version, which supports the type of parquet that I've used here. And the other, actually, there are no other plugins, but you may need the Relink bitmaps plugin in order to get the textures back into the file. It says one request, Theo, just make sure to share lower 3ds Max version of the file so that everyone benefits from it, as everyone might not be using the latest 3ds Max version. Thank you. Yeah, you're very welcome. I plan to share the lowest I can go to. I think it's 2021 or something like this. I hope most of you can work with this. Obviously not, because next comment is Mikkel saying, please provide 3ds Max lower versions than 2020. I hope it works. I hope that all the modifiers and everything is still supported though, but I haven't used like the craziest modifiers here, but still I'll do my best, see what I can do. Marcel says you should use Pooh Scene Manager to automatically change the sun in each shot. Yes, I can. I don't have pose. I've seen lots of videos and tutorials actually. I know this can be done like this, but I don't have it. Maybe I can get a version. But once again, if I used it here and gave it to you, you also need pose. And I wanted to for everyone to actually have everything I give you so that you can immediately start working without needing to invest in new software, plugins, what's not. Yeah, Marcel says don't post it as their own work. People posting as their own work on a Chaos campus. Yeah, as Helen responds, I think we'll recognize this project. I know it very well. Abdi says great suggestions. I surely will do that. Thank you. Yeah, I think this should be the end of it. We talked about this almost for an hour now. I hope you like this gift, whatever you want to call it. I hope most of all that it will be useful to you, that it will bring you a bit ahead, that maybe some questions you might have had regarding this work or past works of mine can get answered to this file, because this time you get the actual file. You can once again create exactly what you're seeing here without any issues, because all the assets and all the materials are from the Cosmos library. Certainly, this was a bit limiting. As you know, I have my own library. I have access to online libraries like a lot of you do too. It would have been more flexible. I would have been probably also maybe a tiny bit easier if I was able to do that, but then I wouldn't have been able to give you everything the way it is now. And this was the major priority, which once again, this held me back again. But I must say that the Cosmos library was really, really wonderful. Did a great job. I don't think that people see this and think, this is just the Cosmos library that comes with Chaos projects, and not some really great online library, because lots and lots of the assets and materials used here are really absolutely great. Marcel says there is a free indie version of the Scene Manager. Okay, then I'll try it out for sure. Functional and commercial without limit. Thank you. This is a great tip. I'll try it out. Amit says it's an excellent work. Heads off to you, Theo. After Mike, we saw the comparison from YouTube between the two softwares. Yes. This is something I wanted I wanted to do it on my own, but I also wanted for you to be, for you Corona and Vantage users, to be able to do this on your own, of course, and of course for the V-Ray users as well. This is why we put in all the work to give you many options so that more people are able to get access to this file and just incorporate it, learn from it, experiment further with it, and let's share stuff. Once I start giving you the files with a link, let's also start creating atop of this. Let's start experimenting and seeing where this can lead us, and if it works out, if people, you enjoy it, if it's useful to you. In future, when I have time again, I may consider doing another one, maybe an exterior or something else. Who knows? Anyways, thanks a lot for the appreciation, and I think it's time for us now to wrap up today's session, because even though I wanted to do it for 1.5 hours, it's been 2 hours almost now. So maybe let me quickly... Marcelo shared the link to this Pose Manager, which is a free indie version, so make sure to check out the commands for that. Thank you, Marcelo. Let me just, before we wrap it up, let me just briefly show you the best image, the contenders for the best image for the next 2 weeks that you get to vote for. These are images from the last 2 weeks, obviously. I'll just briefly show them to you. Very, very nice images, if you ask me. Wait a second. So here it goes. We'll start with something unusual. It's this fitting room of an factory by Ahmed. I really like this one. It's very stylish. It's very cool. I can really imagine the Chaos logo coming somewhere here. The Chaos and the campus here atop of the dark suit. I think it would be really cool. Here, Ahmed, as I told you in the beginning or during the show, really, really solid work. So why not nominate it for one of the best images of the last 2 weeks? Then there's CCTV fisheye shot by Audio. I really liked the scale of it and the whole interior and the lighting and everything. And once again, I can imagine the Chaos Campus font somewhere here or logo. It would be pretty cool. This work by Rita, absolutely amazing. Just a feel-good project. This area here where the logo will come is probably a bit wild, but we'll make it work, because this is just something amazing to have as a cover. And finally, this really cool shot by Will Bigner. That's just so natural, so nice, down to earth. I enjoyed it a lot, but at the same time, very crisp, very, very pleasant to look at. And this will be my last contender. And I'll prepare this, and I think either today or tomorrow, you'll be able to start voting for your favorite image. And with this, we are actually at the end, and we can wrap up. I see some of you already going. Douglas saying goodbye to you too, man. Mikkel saying thank you. Thanks for all. Douglas, you're very, very welcome. Once again, I hope this was a useful session to you. In future, we'll try to keep it at 1.5 hours, because we wouldn't have such huge topics. And if we have them, I'll try for them to be occasional, so that if we have a 2-hour show, it's not like every show. And it's as usual. It was a great pleasure hanging out with all of you. Have a great start in 2025. I hope you already do. Stay safe, be healthy, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks at the usual place at time 4 p.m. Central European time in the afternoon on Tuesday. And until then, don't forget to rock on and keep it real. Much love, and bye, my friends.